I back up. I got the razor in my hand. He grabs his neck, and he starts kicking the door. Bam, 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 bam. So now I know the CO is going to come in. COs, you can hear when they be coming up the stairs, and you can hear the keys jingling and shit. So when I know they made it to the top tier, I threw the razor in the toilet. But I'm thinking the whole time, the second I throw this razor, he's going to crash me. I'm going to get his blood all over me, all this shit. I throw the razor in the toilet. I flush that shit. The COs come up to the window, and they're like, what's going on? And he shows them his neck, and he's like, I want to kill myself. So I'm shocked. He ended up getting taken to the hospital, like fix his shit up or whatever, but he never snitched on me, and I never got in trouble for cutting him. But my buddy that was across the hall watched everything happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. I have an exclusive episode for you all today. I had the opportunity to have YouTube star and legend 1090 Jake on the show to share his story of getting involved in gang life at an early age, going to prison, and the wild war stories that came with it, and how he ended up becoming a YouTube sensation. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped. I would like to give a huge thank you and appreciation to Manscaped for coming on board to sponsor our show. You can get 20% off plus free international shipping and 2 free gifts with my promo code LOCKEDIN at manscaped.com/lockedin. Sit back, relax, and get ready to lock in with the one, the only 1090 Jake. 1090 Jake, the man, the myth, the legend. Welcome to Locked In, man. We just had a great almost 2-hour car from the airport together, got to know each other.
For sure.
Our first time meeting. My paperwork checks out, don't worry. Hasn't been any hit pieces on me by you yet. But, dude, it's an honor to meet you and have you here. Ever since I started on YouTube, I get probably 5 or 6 comments a day saying, 1090 Jake, 1090 Jake, we want 1090 Jake. So we're giving the people what they want right now.
For sure. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. How was the flight in today?
It's good. Quick. Quick flight.
That's what we like to hear, man.
Yeah.
Wasn't first class, but
it's all good.
We got you next time.
Yeah.
So, Jake, take us through the beginning of your story, man. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? What's like childhood life for you?
So I'm from Mass. I say Boston just because nobody else knows anything in fucking Massachusetts. But I was born in Malden, and then I was 13 when I ended up moving to Florida. So my parents were separated before I was even born. I was with my mother. Then I went to my father's. He didn't want me in the picture, so I ended up finding myself down in Florida. I was living with my aunt. And in Mass, I wasn't really getting into nothing, but my at-home situation wasn't great, so I was kind of like becoming a pissed-off kid. I always switched schools, so I never really had like a solid place where I felt like I was from, you know what I mean? Because it's always new friends every year, different school. I end up down in Florida, and by then I'm like a pissed off teenager. Like, oh, my parents ain't want me. Fuck everybody, you know? I'm just gonna rebel, whatever. And the first year I was down there, I was with my grandmother because my aunt was in the process of adopting 2 kids, so I couldn't go with her immediately. So I go to grandma's, and she's thinking I'm still the sweet little kid that she's used to, and I'm wilding out. You know what I mean? So I moved down to Florida and find out, like, holy shit, everybody's got guns down here. Like, this shit's lit. And I just started getting into shit. You know, that's when I think 13 is when I first started smoking and everything. Smoking, drinking, whatever I could get into, whatever bad shit I could get into, I was into it. And for me, that was, like, my way of, like, socializing was through, like, being bad. Just trying to get some type of attention.
Did you get bullied at all in school?
Yeah. Surprisingly.
Why'd they bully you?
Because I was the poor kid. So when I was living with my mother, we bounced around, but there were some places we lived that weren't bad. And, like, I actually didn't know it growing up, but we lived in, like, a Section 8 apartment or whatever. I didn't know it was Section 8, though, because I was young as fuck. But I guess she won, like, the lottery or some shit on a fucking Section 8 place, but we lived in a decent neighborhood. And, when I went to school, I was the poor kid in the school. So they kind of like looked down on me in a sense. And that school was more like preppy. But like I said, I kept switching schools. So then when I went to my father's, it was more like inner city. I fit in better over there. You know what I mean? But as far as like physically bullying me, it was none of that. It was just like they didn't want to fuck with me because I was like the poor kid and I was wearing the hand-me-downs from my dad and shit. And I looked more like I fit in a different situation. So I couldn't really get in with the preppy kids. And then when I went to the other school, I fit right in, started fighting and, you know.
Did you understand why they were bullying you at that time? Like, did you know you were different, that you didn't have money?
Kinda, yeah. Like, I could peep it. But I'm looking at it like, it wasn't necessarily bullying. Like, they just ain't want me around. And you feel that as a kid, like, damn, like, they ain't fucking with me, you know? So when I started doing bad shit, that's when I found, like, my little group. And those kids were like me, you know? The home situation's fucked. They didn't really have money neither. And, yeah, it just progressed.
And you're being unwanted by both fronts, your parents and now the people around you. That's got to be tough, too.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how everybody gets into the gang shit and, you know, trying to seek out something that isn't there to begin with.
Do you think if you did have a stable family that you never would have went down the path you ended up going down?
Probably. You know, because I wasn't really a bad kid. It's just I was seeking what I didn't have. And I found attention through doing bad shit. So, I don't know. I don't know how different things would have played out, but I'm sure it would have had an effect.
How would people describe you back then if we had like one of the kids you used to run with at that age? What would they say about you?
I don't know, bro. Like, you've seen the Jackass movies? Like, I was in the shit like that, just doing wild, dumb shit, funny shit. Like, back then, like, nothing too crazy. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing, like, crazy and violent. It was just more, like, doing bad shit, graffiti, fucking people's shit up, fucking throwing firecrackers in mailboxes and shit like that, you know?
What all kids do.
Yeah, just fucking off.
Yeah, we actually just had Brandon Novak on the show.
Yeah,
from Jackass, which is awesome.
For sure.
But I was that kid, too. Like, I was bullied in elementary school, and then I was the one acting out to get attention, putting a bag of shit on someone's doorstep, lighting it on fire, that, you know, the M80s in the mailbox, everything like that.
Yeah.
That's what kids did back then.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I'm sure kids still do that now, too. So when's, like, the first time you really started getting into, like, real legal trouble?
I mean, middle school, I was, like, border. You know, even at my father's, I think in 7th grade, I got in some type of trouble because I hit some kid. And I had to go to, like, a clerk magistrate. Like, I didn't get arrested, but I had to go to court. And nothing really came from it. But down in Florida, later on, I think 15, 16, that's when I started going to juvie and all that. So down there, I just dove head first into everything. Down there was really, like... My first introduction to gangs was up in Mass, but when I went to Florida, that's when it was like, all right, motherfuckers is really doing shit down here. Like, I'm trying to get into all this, you know what I mean? The fighting, the guns, the smoking, the drugs. And I think 16 was the first time I went to juvie, and that was in Tampa.
And what was that for?
Oh, fuck. I'm trying to remember. I might have to come back to it. I don't even think I can remember off the top of my head.
So what was the appeal for the gang life? Like, what was it for you? Because, you know, kids grow up playing like Grand Theft Auto and watching this stuff, but what for you, what was it that you wanted to join a gang?
Grand Theft Auto.
So you're saying you're influenced by Grand Theft Auto?
I got Grand Theft Auto tattooed on my hand. Yeah. Nah, I mean, bro, it was just like a whole bunch of misfits finally fit in, if that makes sense. And it gave us something to do, you know? It gave us people we didn't like. It gave us people we did like. It gave us something to bond over, and then not for nothing, it was like a fucking football team. Except we're just fighting and doing dumb shit, you know? So it was like, in that sense, it was a sense of belonging. And I don't know, I guess that's all I was really looking for.
What was your initiation into the gang? Because we hear about how, like, gang members have to get initiated by doing something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into the fucking specifics, but like most gangs, you get jumped in.
Like, you have to jump someone or someone jumps you?
No, you get jumped.
You get jumped?
Yeah.
So you have to take an ass whooping just to get into the...
Yeah, because they want to see where your heart's at, you know? Like,
What, that you
it's
won't
not,
snitch, or...?
Nah, they just want to know that you'll fight.
Okay.
Especially if the odds are against you. They want to see that you're going to hold it down. So, like, it's not so much a matter of you winning. It's a matter of you getting beat the fuck up, but pushing through it and not giving up. Like, you can't hit the floor and ball up. It restarts. You know what I'm saying? You can't not fight back. It restarts. You can't run away. It restarts. Yeah. And if you got to restart that many times, it's just a no-go. You're just going to get flipped.
You ever watch the Batman movie, Dark Knight?
Yeah.
Where the Joker, like, breaks the pool stick, and he makes the two of them, the gang members, fight over each other to like get initiated in or whatever.
I don't really remember that part.
Yeah, that was like when he was trying to see who killed the Batman and said like I don't know, whatever, but it reminds me of that. It's just wild. Like, where do you think you got that aggression from? Like, to be able to fight?
Get my ass kicked from my dad.
That's where it stemmed from.
Yeah, that's where a lot of that shit stemmed from.
When he was in your life.
Yeah, it was a lot of negative shit. So it kind of made me want to do shit to other people.
Do you blame him for that? Like that, because that made you the person you are today? You have like resentment?
Yeah. I really don't even get into that shit like that. Like, I really don't talk about it. But a lot of like the wanting to prove myself came from that, because when you're that young and that small, getting your ass beat by somebody, you feel like you're soft. So then it becomes now I want to prove to myself I'm not, and you start doing shit to other people. So, I mean, it definitely, a lot of that came from that. And then at the same time, he used to glamorize like gangsters, gangster movies, the mafia, this and that. So I always wanted to, because I had the impression that he was into that shit. So I wanted to get into it. But obviously down in Florida, it's not like all mafia. It's fucking gangbanging. You know what I mean? So
going to juvie as a gang member, what's that like? I don't think we've really talked about that on the show. Like, do you have to go, you're in there fighting, there's politics? How does that work?
Nah, there was never politics in juvie in Tampa. It was just like you just had different neighborhoods, and one kid might be in a gang from that neighborhood, but it really wasn't like gangland in juvie. Mm-hmm. Juvie was just like a bunch of dumbass teens and motherfuckers from different hoods will fight, and fucking we get snacks and somebody will get beat up for their snack or shit like that. Like, it really wasn't that serious, especially in Tampa. It wasn't fucking...
What, like some goldfish you guys are fighting over it?
Fuck cookies, like Pop-Tarts, stupid shit.
How do you compare juvie to like regular jail? Like from a setting wise, like lockdowns and the way you're housed and whatnot.
Juvie, we were in cells. We're locked down a lot, and then we go to school, we go on the computers and play fucking games, and it's stupid. It's like daycare, you know what I mean? You get in a fight, they put you in a cell for like a day, and then you come out the next day. Versus Hillsborough County Jail in Tampa, it's open bay. So, like, they have Orient Road, which is where the cells are. So back then, for me, Orient was like booking and then the kitchen. So if you got like assigned a job in the jail, you would go to Orient Road and you would be in cells with like one bunkie. Versus the rest of Hillsborough County Jail, Falkenberg, it's all open bay. So you got like 60 people, and they would have like kind of like a quad, right? So if you're in a corner, there's a bunk bed, but they would have walls that divided 4 people. So the walls would be waist high. You'd have 4 bunks, 4 bunks, 4 bunks, and the whole thing is just wide the fuck open. And then in the back right corner would be like a glass wall that would come out, and that was our rec yard. So it's just a concrete wall, and then above you is a cage. So you can't see grass, nothing like that. You just look up and see the sky, and you're just in there until your case is like finalized.
Do you think juvie made you a better criminal at all?
Nah, because I mean, when I went to juvie, it was over dumb shit. Like, I remember, like, it all gets mixed up when I try to think back on it, but I know that because I was in juvie in Tampa and in Orlando. So when I went to Orlando, I was actually in a juvenile program. So I ended up going to a program that was for like drug and behavior or whatever. I go to the program and I ended up escaping that bitch. So they had double locked doors for the front door. I was in the front for whatever reason, and they had a visitor coming in while the other door was open. Both of the doors aren't supposed to be open at the same time. So I run. I shoot off. I get out. I fucking leave. I end up getting picked up by the police. When they pick me up, because I called my aunt and tried to get her to pick me up. She's like, I'm not picking you up. But I talked to the program director. They said if you turn yourself in, the police are going to take you back to the program. So I end up getting picked up by the police, and I'm thinking that I'm going to go back to the program. They're like, you got warrants in Tampa. So I'm like, what the fuck? So they take me to juvie in Orlando. That juvie that shit was rocking in there. I'm not going to lie. Like, that shit was crazy. You get put into a room, and there's 2 slabs, like the 2 beds, and then there's a mat on the floor. I'm not sleeping on the floor. So first quarter, I pull this kid off of his bunk. I ain't gonna cap, I picked a white kid. because
Wait, what do you mean? You pulled him off the bunk?
yeah, like you got to fight to fucking sleep on the slab.
So walk us through. You walk into that cell. When
I get put in the cell and there's a black kid over here with tattoos and shit. He looks fucking crazy. So I'm like, all right, that kid, like, you know what I'm saying? And then I see this lame ass little white kid. So I'm like, I'm definitely taking his shit because this one's gonna put up more of a fight. And I mean, it might have been the flawed thing to do, but fuck it. So I basically pull his shit, get his bunk. He sleeps on the floor. I sleep on the slab. And then when I went there was a kid from Miami. And me and that kid were like, yo, we're going to lock in because neither one of us are from Orlando. And Orlando would like, when you're in juvie and you go to the programs, all the cities beef. So Tampa will beef with Orlando, or Tampa will beef with St. Pete. West Palm will beef with Miami, whatever. So if you weren't from there, like you're going to link up with whoever ain't because y'all have no allies in that bitch versus it's you versus everybody. So right when I got there was like in the middle of everybody trying to riot and shit.
Now, the kid you yanked off the bunk, does he try to fight or anything?
No.
Do you think this is why white guys have a bad rep in prison?
Yeah, well, I mean, most white guys that go there are there for like dumb shit. So they're not used to like the violence and all that. It's like a culture shock versus the kids that are from the hood. They're living the same way in there as they are on the street.
Yeah.
You know, it's like nonstop.
Well, I asked
bullshit.
you in the car what you would think of me, and you thought I would be a sex offender or someone of no good.
Yeah, I ain't gonna count. Like, it's just like if you see somebody that's like put together, looks like they came from a good, like teeth. Teeth is a major thing. If you see somebody with good teeth, they think you're a cop. You see somebody with fucked up teeth, it's like, all right, yeah, he come from the trenches, you know? But if I see somebody come in with glasses, it's like the glasses is like the sex offender 3000. It's like almost all sex offenders have some crazy ass glasses, you know what I mean? So the second you see that, you like, he probably got some funny shit on his name. But white boys in general, like everywhere I've been locked up at, you can tell he comes from this and he comes from that.
And they never wear glasses. Now that you think of it, with you bringing that up, I've never met like someone that's like high up in the ranks or is legit that wears glasses.
Everybody tries to stay away from the glasses. I ain't gonna lie.
So they call them like the Chomo 3000s or sex offender 3000s in the state too?
In state prison, yeah, we got these like Jeffrey Dahmer looking glasses. I had a pair.
You wore them?
Mm-hmm.
Do you wear contacts now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm blind as fuck.
I
So
see
like
why.
when I was in the JIT camps and shit, I couldn't see anybody. So people would be calling to me. I didn't know if they were like my homies or like, you know, because people will talk shit. You'll see your ops in the chow hall. They'll be like, oh, fuck you. Duh. So people will say shit. I don't know what they're saying. I just start banging and fucking throwing my shit up. I don't know who's talking to me. But I got the glasses in an adult prison.
Yeah.
What I did is I took a nail filer and I basically peeled off the brown color that they had on them, and it left them like clear, like a matte clear color. They looked raw as fuck, and I was like the only person on the compound that did that, and then everybody else started doing it, like copying me type shit. But when I cleaned them up, they look good.
That's wild. So what year did you get out of juvie?
That was like, I don't know, bro. Because 2012 is when I was 18, and that's when I went in. So it must have been like 2011, 2010 type shit.
You're like 16?
Yeah, 16, 17. Because I went in for a couple of different things, bro. Like when I got picked up in Orlando, it was for an armed burglary and possession of a firearm out of Tampa. Then I got transferred to Tampa, got out, beat that. I think the first time I got picked up was for a runaway. I was a runaway. I got picked up for that. And then when I went in and they took me into like the booking thing, we have so we got the JAC Center, the Juvenile Assessment Center. I went in there, and then they brought me next door to like the drug thing where you detox because I was high as fuck. When they put me in there, I ended up knocking a kid out, and then I got hit with felony battery and a detainee, and then I got rebooked for that. So like my juvenile shit, like I had a couple of different situations, but it was nothing serious. And then I was on juvenile probation for the felony battery when I caught my adult case.
Okay.
So that just completely got X'd out, and then it just went straight to the big boy shit.
So you never graduated high school?
No, I dropped out.
You dropped out?
Yeah.
All right, so walk us through getting arrested for the big boy shit. You're on probation. What happens?
I'm on probation for punching the kid. I end up going to a party in the Sulphur Springs neighborhood of Tampa. It's the hood. And I had a gun on me. So we're walking back from the party. We go past somebody's house. They call the police. Their dog was barking. They tried to say that we broke into a car. We tried to, but it never happened. Like, we never did. So we keep walking, and the police come, and the K-9 gets out. He's like, don't move or I'm letting the dog out. I'm on the phone. I'm by like a bush. Like, I'm ahead of the two people that I'm with. So I'm on the phone or whatever. And I'm looking around. Like, I'm going to try to run. You know what I mean? Because I got this fucking gun on me. But the cop, his hand is on the back door to the car, whatever. He's going to let the dog out. So I stand there, whatever. He grabs all of us. We put our hands on the car. He searches me. He doesn't find the gun. But, like, I'm handcuffed and everything. Like, I get cuffed up. They bring the person from the house to the street, and they're like, you know, that's them, da-da-da. They point us out, whatever. So he searches me. Mind you, though, like, they take me handcuffed. I got this big shit sitting right here. And fucking they got the spotlight in my face. So I'm thinking to myself, like, how do they not see it? Like, how was it not bulging out? Because he patted me down and he didn't touch my front. You feel me? So she pointed us out. So at this point, we're getting arrested. They go to put me in the cop car. And I'm thinking, like, yo, I'm going to wiggle this bitch out and fucking try to kick it somewhere or something. Like, I don't know. Before I get put in the car, the supervisor, whoever comes through, and he pats me down and he finds the gun. So he takes the gun off my hip and he yells at the other cop, like, how the fuck did you not find this? So I had an M&P Smith & Wesson on me with an extended grip with a tack light laser on the rail, and that gun was reported stolen. So I get booked for burglary of a conveyance, which is the car, and then carrying a concealed firearm. I go to jail. When I go to jail, I don't know how many days pass, but I get a call out. So I don't know what the call out is. I'm thinking it's medical, wherever. So I go to the medical, like they take me to where medical is. The jail's big as fuck, so they got to transport you in a golf cart. So they take me there to the call out, and like there's like little rooms, like cubby rooms. That's where you'll meet with like your lawyer and shit. They take me into the room, and it's two detectives. They're like, yo, we want to find out what happened with this burglary at your uncle's house. Like, I don't have an uncle here. What the fuck you talking about? They're like, all right, well, this person's house got burglarized. We're going to cut to the chase. You can help us help you. You can tell us to fuck off. So I told them to fuck off. They wrote in the paperwork, piss off. At that point, it says in the paperwork the interview ended and I got taken back to the cell. Well, not the cell, but like the fucking dorm that I'm in. When I go back, I'm thinking in my head, like, damn, you know, like they linked the gun to the burglary, this and that. Like, all this shit's going through my head. Am I going to get charged with anything, whatever. The next day I wake up, I had like 16 new felony charges. So they hit me with armed burglary, 15 counts, grand theft firearm, and then grand theft 5,000 to 10,000. So it was 17 charges.
And you're 18 years old.
18 years old. So now with the armed burglary, I'm fighting a life sentence. Because that's a PBL offense, punishable by life in the state of Florida.
And Florida's tough on these types of crimes, right?
Fuck yeah. Florida don't fuck off. And we have like the most amount of time. So it's like 85% like the feds. So whatever sentence you get, you got to do 85%. But if you get hit with a PBL, now you're facing life.
And you already have a record.
Juvenile, so it didn't count.
Oh, they don't count that?
I never got convicted of a felony as a juvenile. So this is my first felony adult case that I'm fighting now. And it's like, I'm already having in my head, like, yeah, I'm going to prison.
How do you look back then? Do you look like how you do now? Like, do you have tattoos? Are you a big guy? Or?
I was skinny. Well, I wasn't really skinny. I was 210 when I got booked. So I was like 6 foot, 210.
You're tall, though.
I was tatted, though. My face was already tatted. I had my eye. I had my chest, my arms. Like, I already went in there tatted from the street. So I had gang tats on me already. So when I went in the county, like, motherfuckers in the county already seeing the tattoos, like, what you is, you banging, da-da-da-da. And that's when I first experienced, like, the racial issue with being a white blood. Because on the street, I never had an issue. You know, like, the person that brought me home, they mixed. So it was like, on the block, I was fine. When I go to, in juvie, I was fine. County jail, now I'm starting to get into it with the older black dudes. Like, oh, ain't no white bloods. Like, well, bitch, I'm right here. It's like, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? I got in a couple fights in the county with that shit.
So where do you think that comes from about that there's no white bloods? Because clearly you are one, so where does that come from?
It's a predominantly black gang, you know, Bloods and Crips, even way out in California. But you got so many people that have a perception on it, and they'll be like, oh, how is it this? It came from the Black Panthers and da-da-da. And they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about because there's famous white Crips from California that like went through level 4 yards and everything, and they're fucking well known, but people in the East Coast don't know who they are, so they just naturally assume. And then not for nothing, the South is racist. So you got people that'll join shit that don't want other people within that organization. So it's just a mix of that. People not knowing what the fuck they're talking about. Like, bro, I met a lot of Bloods that weren't even real right Bloods. They didn't know who the fuck they were banging under. They had no connections. They were just like, oh, I'm black, I'm Blood, and I got muscles, so nobody's gonna tell me nothing. Like, they wanted to be the big homie, but come to find out, they weren't nothing for real. And then they went to prison. They started fucking punks, and you know, they end up getting exposed and stabbed, whatever.
Now, when the guards ask you if you're gang affiliated, are you honest or do you just let them figure it out on your own?
Nah, yeah, I straight up told them.
You're like, fuck it, I'm gang affiliated.
Yeah, well, when I hit that kid in juvie, I actually recently got the paperwork for that shit. I didn't know I could get it. And I said in the fucking paperwork, they were like, why'd you do that? And I was like, oh, he talking about he from the Springs and he Blood. He ain't from the Springs. He ain't no fucking Blood. So they already had me listed as a gang member from juvie. And then plus all the tattoos. Like, my whole right arm is banged out with just gang tats.
What's the difference between a gang tattoo and a normal tattoo?
It's going to be gang affiliated. Okay. So, like, I got the Superman logo, but it's a 5. It says bang, bang. I got a big-ass B on my arm, and it's not the Red Sox logo. I got MOB, fucking all types of shit on my arm. So it's like, they can decipher, like, stars and things like that, crowns. They look at that. That doesn't necessarily mean you gang banging, but if you got a star with a 5 in it and fucking certain shit, like, they know what time it is. They know that that's...
I went and tatted up, and they were like, are these any of these gang tattoos? I'm like, I don't even know what a gang tattoo is. Like, I'm 21 years old. I've never been gang affiliated. And they're like double checking shit. And I'm like, I'm not in a gang, you know?
Nah, but they'll fuck you over like that, though, because there's people that'll go in and the tattoos have nothing to do with a gang, but they'll classify you as one, and that can fuck you up. Like, that can put you in predicaments you don't need to be in, or they'll put you in a different dorm because they think you have an affiliation that you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, when I went to prison, they were cutting people's tattoos off.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that work when someone gets their tattoo cut off?
There was a white kid, I think he had a Jewish star on the inside of his hand, and they cut that shit off and he re-tatted it on. Like, y'all got me fucked up. But, like, there's been situations with kids claiming Blood that have stars on them and they're not Blood, and they'll fucking hold them down, try to scrape it with a knife and shit like that. Or we flipped one kid at an adult prison that I was at. He had a whole bunch of stars on him. We crossed everything out on him.
What do you mean by crossed out, with like a razor?
No, with a tattoo gun.
Okay.
Like, pinned him against the wall and slashed everything that he had on him so he couldn't go to another prison and claim it.
And what is he doing? Like screaming, or is he just taking it?
He's just taking it.
Oh,
one of the bros was a tattoo artist. So, like, we flipped him. Like, everybody, like, we beat him the fuck up. And the bro just, you know, sat down with him and just X'd out all of his tats.
That is, it's wild. Like,
that shit's fucked up. I ain't gonna lie.
Mary Ballsmas from our friends over at Manscaped. The holidays are approaching, but what if I told you that the celebrations are starting early this year? It turns out the perfect gift does indeed exist, and who else to bring it down your chimney than the leaders in below-the-waist grooming? Keep calm and let your balls jingle this season with Manscaped's brand new Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, featuring the new Lawnmower 5.0. Watch all your wishes and mistletoe kisses come true. Look nice when you're doing naughty. Go to manscaped.com/lockedin for 20% off, plus 2 free gifts and free international shipping with code LOCKEDIN. Unwrap the gift of smoothness this season with Manscaped. You know what I appreciate the most since being released from prison and out in the free world? Using Manscaped. I wish we had Manscaped in prison, because every man knows how scary it can get when going for a close shave below the belt. That's why I trust Manscaped for all my sensitive areas each and every week. I have so much love and appreciation for Manscaped, and I'm sure all of my ex-girlfriends do too, because of how much confidence Manscaped has given me in the bedroom. Go use my official Manscaped promo code and order Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, because it is the ultimate bundle for the man who deserves it all. Included in this special sack is the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose trimmer, Manscaped's liquid formulations, and the gift of Manscaped doesn't stop there. This bundle also comes with 2 free gifts: Manscaped's Boxers 2.0 premium underwear and the Shed 2.0 toiletry bag. Once you're done shaping up, it's only right you put your pants present in the best wrapping at all, the Boxers 2.0. These are seriously the best boxers I've ever worn. Get 20% off plus free international shipping and 2 free gifts with my promo code LOCKEDIN at manscaped.com/lockedin. That's 20% off plus 2 free gifts and free international shipping at manscaped.com/lockedin and use LOCKEDIN at checkout. Manscaped, get your jingle balls ready for the holidays. So all these charges, what ends up happening? Do you go to trial? You get a plea deal?
So I end up pleading out. I plea out to armed burglary, grand theft of one firearm, and carrying a concealed firearm. So I was only caught with one. They couldn't charge me with every single one of them. So the grand theft charge, it was $5,000 to $10,000. That got reduced to the cost of just one firearm. So those 4 charges, I get convicted. I plea out to 36 months. So 3 years, Florida State Prison.
So how's it go from a potential life sentence to that?
Well, I mean, bro, this is the thing. Like, they call it the spaghetti effect. They hit you with mad charges, just like you throw a plate of spaghetti on the wall. But by the time it goes to the floor, all of that shit isn't sticking on the wall. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they overcharged the fuck out of me and said I took 15 guns. They were only able to prove, or I was only willing to plea out to 1. And it was my first felony offense. But they told me if you take it to trial, you're facing 15 minimum to life. So if you go to trial, you're getting no less than 15. And if you fuck off and, you blow trial, you're going to get bammed. There were kids in my situation. Like, I knew a kid, he caught an armed robbery. He ended up getting 4 years, first felony conviction. I knew another kid who had an armed burglary. He blew it. He ended up getting 10. I know another kid, he had a case similar. He ended up getting like 20-something. Mm-hmm. So you got a lot of kids that just aren't willing to sign that piece of paper, and it's hard to do. Like, 3 years of your life, sign off.
So do you think that the media, falsely accuses a lot of people of technically being rats when they hear about situations where someone is facing, the media will say they're facing life and then they sign a deal for 3 years?
Yeah, because they have no understanding of what they're actually talking about. Gunna's plea deal made everyone think that a plea deal is snitching. It's just the grounds in which he had to plea out. You can get a plea deal and you're the only person in the case. I had a co-defendant. My co-defendant actually snitched on me. But with Gunna, part of Gunna's plea is he had to say, I have knowledge that people in YSL have committed crimes. YSL is a gang. He had to confirm certain shit that could be used against other people. Versus in my plea, I didn't have to fucking even talk about my co-defendant. It was just, I'm saying I did this, this, and this. And I plea out to this.
So the Gunna case is a hot topic right now. Do you think he snitched then by signing that?
I'll say this, right? If Thug says he didn't, then he didn't. If Thug says he did, then he did.
And that's his co-defendant?
Yeah, because in my mind, if I'm the main guy and they're trying to fucking, put me down, and you say that you have knowledge of my guys committing crimes from drug dealing to murders, and you say that the thing that I created is a gang, that's going to be used against me. Mm. But what's crazy with the Gunna situation is everybody took the same plea, but everybody isn't getting called a snitch. Mm-hmm. So how are you going to call Gunna a snitch, but not Young Thug's brother who took the same plea, and not everyone else that took the same plea? It's kind of like picking faces, you know what I'm saying? So if they're not snitches, he ain't a snitch.
And isn't there a difference if he would actually get called to trial and testified against him too?
Yeah, but the thing is, everyone that pled out, that's a possibility.
That they could get called.
All of them would get called.
Yeah.
So it's you can't say he's a snitch and not call all of them the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, if he gets called and doesn't go, that would be crazy. That would change everyone's opinion. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it really fucked him up because he was the first one to plea out, and then they caught him on video saying that shit. They're a gang, yeah. But everyone pled out to the same thing.
It's also taken out of context too, right? With those certain clips and whatnot.
I mean, they got him. They got the context of it. It's just they only have him on video saying it. Mm-hmm. So they have him on video saying what he had to plead to, but if you look into everyone else's plea deal, they all had to admit to the same thing. Yeah, YSL's a gang. Yeah, I know that certain ones of them did this and that. Mm-hmm. So it's I don't know.
I love how knowledgeable you are at all the. You're like the head paperwork checker for the prison community.
I'm the one that put Gunna's paperwork out first.
What would you call yourself now? Like, are you like the professional prison paperwork checker? Or?
I have no fucking idea, bro. I done been called the villain in hip hop. Fucking I forget what the fuck academics had called me, but
because you have this massive reputation for giving no fucks and calling people out for what they are.
Yeah, and it's crazy because a lot of people only know me for that. They only know me for exposing people and this and that. But it's like people that been rocking with me, they know I started this shit a long time ago and how much different shit I've covered. But, you know, exposing rappers and rats and shit, like, I've done it so much that snitching doesn't even matter anymore. Like, I've exposed so many rappers for ratting that it's just, like, accepted. Yeah. They're like, oh, he snitched too? Fuck it. Like, who cares? We like his music.
Is there anyone off limits that you'll go after or no? Anyone's on the table if
nah,
you find out?
I kind of done boomed. Like, everybody I found out. I ain't really never spared, like, anyone, you know?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right, so you got these...
So they ended up letting me out. But while I was in confinement, I got a piece of paper saying that my co-defendant, the same person that told me someone else was snitching, piece of paper said he turned state witness. So really it was him. And that was the last time me and him were ever in court together. Every other time, he bonded out. So I would be like in court in shackles and all that shit, and I'd look over at him free with his lawyer, and he wouldn't look at me. He wouldn't make eye contact. So I already knew some fuck shit was happening. Then when I got that paper, I found out he was snitching. So they let me out of confinement. I go back into a dorm. That's like a 2-week period. You stay in the county, and then they ship you off. So like in the middle of the night, they'll come through with mad shackles. They call your name. They called my name. And I was in there with another kid that was going to prison for 4 years. So like the white dudes in there, like they're like hood white dudes. They got golds and shit. They're like telling us like, yo, you got to stick together. Y'all from Tampa, this and that. This kid's more amped than me. He's, man, when I go in there, I'm popping off on whoever. I don't give a fuck, da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, all right, I'm going to just, you know, take it as it comes. We get shackled up. I go to prison first. So they grab me. They put me on a bus. It's mad people. I'm in the very back right seat of the bus. And I got this older white dude next to me. And we're chained to each other. And we take the drive. And it's like an hour and a half. We go to Orlando from Tampa. So we go to the Central Florida Reception Center, which is in Orlando, because I was in Central Florida. There's 4 reception centers in Florida. So you got down south, which is, I think, like in Miami. CFRC, which is the Central in Orlando. North, which is Lake Butler. And then Northwest, which I think is Washington. And we get there, and the fucking atmosphere just changes. Everyone on the bus ride, we're talking and shit, then we get quiet. But when we get there, everyone's like, oh shit, like here we go. And you know, there's some guys that have been in prison before. But we pull in, and when we pull in, we get off and we see the COs waiting for us, and there's this legendary CO called 6'6". He's like 6'6", this black dude. So we all get out, we line up. The COs really ain't doing too much talking, and then he starts booting up. He's like, when I tell you to strip, you need to strip. You were gonna get butt ass fucking naked, this and that, whatever. So he just like yells it out, strip. We all get butt ass naked. Like I'm fucking dick out and everything in 2 seconds. We're just standing there like looking up, and there's like a row right here and a row in front of me. We're all ass naked, bro. You gotta lift your dick, lift your balls. They search you, whatever, and they stop passing out clothes. There's a handicapped dude with no legs. They're expecting him to strip. They're not helping him or nothing. And then the CO start going crazy. Like 6'6" walked up to an inmate, and it was a Mexican dude. He's like, you ain't bring a towel? He's like, no, sir. He's like, you ain't got no towel? He's like, no, sir. He's like, how you gonna get all that wet off your back? I'm like, oh shit. Like, I'm damn near like laughing but shocked at the same time because this is a black CO. They told me all the white ones were gonna be fucking the worst. Like, this one's going crazy.
Yeah.
And we got to go through the whole process. And the whole thing everyone was telling me is like, hope to God you don't get a red hat. So in Florida, we have youth offenders, the YOs. Youth offenders is 14 to 24 years old. You can get sentenced as a youth offender, but you can also get reclassified at reception. This is my first time in prison. I'm 18, but I wasn't sentenced as a YO. So I'm thinking I'm going to go to an adult prison. That's what you want. You want to go to adult prison. The YOs are the most violent shit in Florida. So they reclassified me as a YO. I go up to the thing, they hand me the red hat. And everybody that was in like the little holding cell that I was in, they're all like, because it's like white boy with a red hat. Like, they know I'm about to go through it, but I don't know what I'm about to get into yet. So, I put the hat on. We go through our shit, whatever. We have to learn the extended day creed. They hand us a piece of paper. They say, memorize this shit or you're not finna eat. So I'm fucking reciting the shit in my head like a rapper. Like, And they pass out the food trays or whatever. So 6'6" is telling us to recite the creed. He slapped the fucking tray out of some kid's hand because the kid didn't memorize the shit, so shit went all over him. And there was some kids getting slapped and shit. Like, already. It started to get hands-on. And they give us the baldies. So he asked me, he's like, recite your creed. This is my extended day creed, sir. Watch your thoughts to become your words. Watch your words to become your feelings. Watch your feelings to become your actions. Watch your actions to become your habits. Watch your habits to become your lifestyle. Watch your lifestyle that controls your destiny. This is my extended day creed, sir. So he hands me my tray. I'm like, fuck yeah. I start smashing my shit. I'm looking at everybody else. They're fucking up, getting smacked and shit. So basically, we got to go over to H-dorm, hotel dorm, hell dorm. That's for the YOs. So I don't know what the fuck happened. I think I had to get a shot or something. But I ended up getting separated from like the other YOs that were with me. There was like 3 or 4 of them. So I got to get walked over to H-dorm by myself. So I got my bunk. I got a fresh shaved head with patches and fucking. I go over there. When I walk in, CO brings me in. The other CO comes up, this old country ass white dude. I can see where I'm about to go. They got one section for 18 and under. They got another one 19 and 20. And then they got another one that's 21 to 24. They look like old men. They're in there drinking coffee. They're like 22, 23. But we're looking at them like they're fucking old people. 19 to 20, it's like a mix. 18 and under, straight demons. Like, these kids are fucking 16, 17, face tats, scars, fucking missing teeth, fucking look crazy as hell. So the CO is telling me like, yo, I'm not telling you what to do, but don't let nobody play with you. You know what I'm saying? And when I look through the glass, everyone's staring back at me. There's no white, like, I don't see any white people. So I'm like, fuck, like, this is it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really about to walk into my first, like, little prison experience. So I walk in, he calls up my cell. My roommate runs up, it's this white kid. And the CO brings me to my cell. This kid helps me, like, put my shit away, tuck my shit, whatever. Then we got to walk back into the day room, and it's dead quiet, bro. You can't hear nothing. So everyone's just, waiting for the CO to leave. The CO finally leaves. I'm standing there, and the whole group of black kids are at the table. Like, yo, come in. They call me to the table. I sit down. I'm sitting right here. I got one kid in front of me, 2 kids right here, and everybody else just comes up. So I'm fucking nervous. Like, you know what I mean? I got like, because everyone told me like the second you get in there, they're going to try you. So like, I'm with it. They started asking me questions and shit. They're like, where you from? Tampa. You bang, I'm blood. They're like, oh yeah, who you know from Tampa? Man, who the fuck y'all know from Tampa? So they asking me, do I know Junebug? I'm like, yeah, I know Junebug. We from the same hood, da-da-da-da. Junebug's right over there. I didn't even know. So they point to him like, man, what's up? So he knows me. You know what I'm saying? So I already know somebody in here. So I'm like, all right, good. This is going good. They started asking me shit. I'm like, man, I'm going to be honest. I just want my TOH. Like I told them, like, so TOH, that's a test of hot. That's what everyone fears in Florida State prisons. Like in the YOs, they don't really do that shit at adult camp. But you're going to get a TOH. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. So I'm just telling them, like, I don't want to talk. I just want to get straight to it, bro. Like, I'm nervous. I feel like I'm a stutter. I don't want to look soft. So I'm like, let's get it. Let's get right to it. They're like, yo, chill, you good. Because I knew somebody already in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? They're telling me I'm good, but I don't believe them because I've already been told they're going to tell you you're straight. Then they're going to just flip you, whatever. So I end up going to my room. Everything was like actually straight. And then the little work crew comes out, and it's all bros. You feel me? The bloods. So they clean it up. They come to my cell. And they're like, yo, you got to tighten up your bunkie. I'm like, fuck. Because I just got to prison, right? And this is a white kid, so I'm not really too worried. Like, I'm bigger than him and everything. But he got 15 years. I got 3. So 15 years to me right now sounds like a life sentence. Like, I'm sleeping under his bunk. So I'm, like, looking up like, damn, he got 15. He might kill me in my sleep or some shit. He knows he ain't coming home. Like, that shit sounds like forever in there. So they're like, yo, you got to fight him. And they're at my cell. Like, the cell's shut. You feel me? They're looking through the window. They want to watch. So I tell them, like, yo, bro, you got to tighten up. And I'm like, I got to put on right now. So I'm not going to lie. Like, I beat the shit out of him. I never even got hit. But it's not like I fought someone that was, like, a fighter anyways. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of, like, I got an easy bunkie to flip. So I beat him up. And, you know, the bros are like, all right, hell yeah, whatever. So they're satisfied. They leave. Now I'm stuck in the cell with this kid.
After you beat him up.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like, fuck, I'm finna die. You know what I'm saying? Like, he probably got some shit in here I don't know about. So I'm trying to like get cool. We got cool though. You know what I'm saying? We got real cool. And he was stressing in that bitch, bro, about them 15 years. But that was like my first day in reception. After that, everything got chill. You know what I'm saying?
A prison warrior.
Well, because I got shipped to prison with an older blood from Tampa. So he was on the adult side. He's all tatted up and shit. And I run into him at medical, you know, because you still got to go through the process of reception. So the JITs, where we're at, in the JIT dorm, they're seeing me fucking with one of the bloods on the adult side. So that just made me look that much more official. And then the kid that I was in county with comes. The one that was all hyped up, gung-ho, like, yeah, I'm fighting everything, da-da-da. So he comes through. I'm like, what's good, bro? People see I'm fucking with him, so they're not really stepping to him like that. And his whole energy's just changed. He's like, yeah, bro, you know, they said I was going to get this much time, but I got a year more, and I just want to go home and see my daughter, so I'm going to focus on my appeal, and I'm just going to stick to my Bible. What? Fuck are you talking about? Like, we're about to go to JIT camp. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about you going to... So you're not going to rock with me? So I kind of like took it personally. Like, you're not going to have my back. You know what I mean? Because you was on that tough shit in the county. So I'm like, bro, they're going to TOH you. They're going to do this. He's like, they're not going to do nothing to me. They're not going to do nothing. I'm like, all right, bet. So they put me on a work squad. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to do something to him. So I took the big ass broom. You know the push broom? It's like a T. And I grabbed the push broom. And I got 2 other people with me on the cleanup crew. They popped his door. I went in there and smacked the shit out of his ass with the broom. So, like, I'm going to flip him. Like, fuck it. So I go in there, pop his ass. I'm like, what's up? Break it off. He broke it off. So, like, when somebody's trying to extort you in Florida State Prison, in the JIT camps, like, they're going to fuck you up and tell you to break it off. You know what I mean?
So you were trying to extort him.
Yeah. Like, if you think they're not going to try you, I'm going to try you. And he first quarter broke it off. Wow. It's like, oh, you was a bitch. Because in the county, you was tough as fuck. Like, you were doing more talking than me. Yeah. And then you come in here talking about a Bible. All right. Hit him with the broomstick. He breaks it off.
He showed his cards as a sign of weakness.
Yeah, well, because it's like, bro, there ain't no Bible in here, bro. Like, God ain't finna help you in here. You got to stand on your shit. Like, they had us, when we were in reception, they took us to, like, a church event that we all had to go to. And the church people are coming up to us, and they're like, oh, would you like to praise Jesus and join us in faith? And then I'm like, nah. They're like, how come? I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, there's no God in here. Like, that shit ain't finna help me. You don't know what I'm about to go through. You're not gonna be able to process it. I can't even tell you what's already happening here because you're not gonna believe it. Because the COs are already slapping the fuck out of us in H dorm. Like, we'll line up to slap the fire out your ass. You know what I'm saying? They're hitting you in the face, back of the head, whatever. And they're letting the inmates jump on you. Like, we're testing each other. As long as no one's getting cut or poked up, they were letting it happen. You know what I mean? And this is just reception. Like, I'm thinking that this shit's tough. Shit was nothing. So then I get sent to my first prison. So I go to Sumter Correctional Institution. Sumter, it's an adult prison, but it's got a JIT side, 18 and under. And this shit is a whole nother ball game. Like, I thought it was intimidating going into reception. We get to Sumter. They put us inside of, it's like the goodie dorm. So it's like half reception, half the good kids. You know what I mean? Nothing really intimidating until we go to child for the first time. So the goodie dorm is separated. And then in the other dorms, it's like E dorm, D dorm, F dorm. F dorm is the jungle dorm. D dorm is like the bad dorm you go to when you get out of confinement. So we line up for chow. I think we were in C-Dorm. I think that's what it was. We line up for chow. I'm in the back of the line with like the people that I know from the city and shit. And F-Dorm comes marching up. So we got to march. We got, hip, hype, hip, hype. It's like military shit. We got a PT and everything. We see F-Dorm coming, bro. And we know that that's the jungle dorm. Like everybody like whistle like, oh, that's F-Dorm, that's F-Dorm. So I look back. I'm like, man, fuck F-Dorm. I look back. Bro, these kids are like 6'4", 6'5". No white kids. Everybody looks crazy as shit. They're all their eyes are like this. They got oh, what's up? Da, da, da. Come to find out, I'm talking to one of my bros, this kid named Shaq from Tallahassee. And he's like known on this compound, you know what I mean? And so you gotta come with that energy back. Like you gotta, oh, I'm this, I'm that. Da, da, da. You can't show that you pussy for nothing. Mm-hmm. So Shaq loved that shit, but I don't even know who I'm talking to. So then he tells me like, yo, on blood, and I'm thinking cause they'll do shit, like they'll tell you they that and they not even that. Just to reel you in and make you think like you one of them, and then they'll set you up and get you popped or something. Like you'll be talking to your ops and you don't even know who your ops are. You know what I mean? Or like your own people, what, like if you blood, they'll be like, yo, we Crip, just to see how you react. Oh, I don't got no smoke with no Crips. Now they know you pussy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if they like, oh, Crip, you be like, man, fuck y'all. Then they're like, all right, yeah, he gonna stand on business. So they want to see like how you gonna react type shit. And you know, I held that shit down. I got that energy for their ass, whatever. But while I'm in the reception dorm, I end up getting caught with a poker in my bunk because I hear the Zoes already trying to get me from round, because the Bloods that came on the bus like 2 weeks before me, they all got hit up in the barbershop. They got fired up and shit like that. So getting fired up is like you put like a lock in a sock and you hit somebody over the head with it, or a brick in a canteen bag. And one of them got hit with the clippers in the barbershop. He got fired up with the clippers. So the second they hear I'm blood, and I'm the only blood that got sent there, they already on my ass. Like they want to get me from round. So my boy Joe, the little Italian kid, he hooked me up with a poker. So I had a poker in my bunk. They flipped the whole dorm. They search it. They put it through the metal detector. They find the poker. I get sent to confinement. So first quarter, I got a weapons charge. That's 60 days in confinement, possession of a weapon.
So you lost some good time or something like that?
I don't even know if I had good time to lose at that point.
So you were doing that full 3 years regardless?
No, I already had 6 months off from the county.
Okay.
So I had 6 months time served from the county jail. But yeah, I go straight to confinement. And then in confinement is where the first time I had to cut somebody.
Where you had to shank someone?
Nah, I cut him. I cut him with a razor.
What's the difference between cutting and like shanking, or what's
shanking? Stabbing somebody.
Okay.
So even like with stabbing, like there's levels to stabbing somebody, because it's like we had like in the JIT camp we had more pokers than knives. So a poker is like chain link fence. Versus a knife. Like we never really used the word shank. That's more like some like prison movie shit.
Okay. But
if you had like a knife, that's getting stabbed. You know what I'm saying? Like there really weren't knives in the JIT camp. It was just pokers and razors.
What does a poker look like? What are they using to make a poker?
Like an ice pick. Like like the chain link fence. Like you just straighten that shit out. Or anything that's just like a fucking pipe, like something like that, like just something that looks like this. You're just chopping it up.
No, you're not using it to kill someone. It's just to hurt them.
I mean, you had people getting hit with them bitches, but none of them are really dying, you know, because like chain link fence, like the fence pokers, they get dull and they bend when they hit bone. So like pokers really used to get used to TOH people. Like they'll hold you down, hold your arms out and everything, and just hit you up in your rib cage, the bottom of your feet, your ass cheek, fucking everything that's like sensitive and hurts. But they'll do it to your body. So one, you can't fight back when they're done because you're so sore the next day. And they're trying to extort you. So they'll get you up in the rib cage and shit. And you had kids getting poked up 150, 200 times.
Have you ever been poked?
Hell yeah. I got poked at reception.
What does it feel like?
Fucking hurts. It stings, it burns, and then like it really hurts more the next day. So the next day is when that pain done spread through your muscle. So like you'll try to roll over and like everything fucking hurts. Like you freeze up, bro. So it hurts more the next day.
Is there risk of infection too, or like tetanus?
Yeah, I got 3 tetanus shots in 1 year.
So do the doctors immediately give you a tetanus shot when you get poked up?
If you get caught, but I didn't. When I got poked, I didn't get caught.
So was there, looking back on it, could you have avoided all of this if you just went into prison not gang affiliated? Like someone like me, could I have survived there without getting into trouble or no?
Fuck no.
They're gunning for
We
me?
on your ass the second you come in there. What? You come in looking like how you look, we on your ass first quarter.
There's no way to just be like good out of the way.
If you pay?
If I pay?
What? You go in there and you're like, yo, like take all my money? Like, yeah, you're straight.
How much would I have to pay you to be safe in there?
I mean, bro, we were bums. So it's like we didn't have no money. So as long as you had some shit, and not for nothing, like $50 or get somebody popped. Like I got cut over $50. I had a $50 hit on my head.
All right, so we're gonna get to the money part in a sec. Your first time poking someone, what's that like?
Well, the first kid I hit, I cut him with a razor.
Yeah, their first time cutting someone.
All right, so they put me in a room with a Crip, right? And his Crip brother, this kid named Flex from Orlando, I was actually cool with him. Me and him used to go back and forth, like, because we were mad banged out when we went to reception. So, like, I wouldn't pronounce nothing with a C. So if we were going to hit canteen, I'm like, man, when we hitting Bantine, like, and then he wouldn't pronounce nothing with a B, or he wouldn't say 5, he'd say jive, and, like, our slang, like, we were really, like, banged out with it, trying to be, like, super gang members, because, I don't know, that's just what it was. We felt like we were supposed to do that. So me and Flex were cool. Flex was in confinement with me, and he tells my bunkie to fight me to see where my bunkie's at. So me and my bunkie get down. I beat the fuck out my bunkie. Not even trying to sound like I'm Superman. Because I'll get to the stories where I got beat up and fucked up and all that. But I beat the fuck out of him. I didn't even get hit by him. So I flush him. And there was a situation where our toilet stopped working. So we had to get moved to a cell upstairs. So we go, and mind you, me and this kid got cool. Like we fought, but we were cool. Like he tried to put me down with pen pals and like wrote his mom. Like, yo, if you got any friends that'll write him. And his mama wrote me back. Like, his mom wrote me. She sent me, like, 5 stamps and sent him, like, 3. He's like, what the fuck? Like, she sent you more than... Shit was crazy. But his mama was writing me. So we get moved into a cell upstairs. One of my bros is across the tier. Like, I can see in his window. So he tells me he finna cut my bunkie when he get out of confinement. And we, like, doing sign language and shit. We call that shit texting when we're in confinement. We texting each other. So I'm like, for what? And he more or less says that my bunkie called him, you know... a derogatory term for Bloods. So he's like, I'm gonna cut him. I'm like, man, I'll do that shit. So he's like, what's up? I got a raise in the room right now. So I'm thinking in my head, like, when I say I'll do it, like, I'll do it when we get out of confinement. But now he's like, I got one right now. So I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? I don't want to look pussy because this is my first time getting into a situation like this. So I'm like, all right, shoot the razor. So what he does is, it's a straight razor, 1 blade that we get to shave with. He broke it in half. And he put the half behind the stamp on an envelope. And then he put some pictures in the envelope. So the CO comes around. Yo, CO, hey, can you pass these pictures to a cell? Da-da-da-da-da. CO brings the shit over to me. I get the shit. I get the razor. I take the razor and I tie it on one of those flex pens that you get in confinement. I take string from my bunk, tie it on. I use the stamp to, like, cover the bottom half of the razor so that I don't know if blood's gonna fucking shoot everywhere. I've never done this before. So like I've said it, like when you think of violence, like if you think of shooting, it's more like common. Like you see the movies, you play the video games, it's like, oh yeah, shooting. Nobody ever says, yo, cut his face open. You're like, what the fuck type of sick shit are you on? But this is prison, so this is how they get down in there. And he goes up to the window and I ran up and I grabbed the back of his head with my hand. Like pushed his face into the glass. I went to hitting his neck with the razor. So I got him from like here to here. There was 3 cuts. So one here. So I'm just hitting him. Bam, bam, bam. I back up. I'm just as scared as he is at this point. Like both of our eyes are wide as fuck. I don't know if he's just going to start crashing me or whatever. So he holds his neck. And you know, when you cut somebody, like, because he's black. So you see like pink white meat. Like, it's fucking gross. But it didn't squirt. It just kind of like leaked, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I back up. I got the razor in my hand. He grabs his neck and he starts kicking the door. So I'm like, oh, fuck. You know, he's bam, 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 bam. So now I know the CO is going to come in. COs, you can hear when they fat ass be coming up the stairs, and you can hear the keys jingling and shit. So when I know they made it to the top tier, I threw the razor in the toilet. But I'm thinking the whole time, the second I throw this razor, he's going to crash me. I'm going to get his blood all over me, all this shit. I throw the razor in the toilet. I flush that shit. The COs come up to the window, and they're like, what's going on? And he shows them his neck, and he's like, I want to kill myself. So I'm shocked. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I'm thinking this shit in my head. Like, he said, what? They cuff him up. They cuff me up. They take him out the cell. He ended up getting taken to the hospital, like fix his shit up or whatever. But he never snitched on me. And I never got in trouble for cutting him. But my buddy that was across the hall watched everything happen.
Wow.
So he ends up coming back, and they put him in the cell right next to mine. So when they take him out for showers, like his shit's all like fixed up now. Like I'm talking shit on the window, like, look at you, da da da. He's like, it's all good, I'm gonna get you. You know what I mean? Like we used to talk shit back and forth. We're in the cell right next to each other. But
Wow.
that was my first time fucking popping somebody. And then like my name like fucking spread through the whole JIT camp.
You earned your stripes.
What? Because my last name is Cherry, which is and then like they would periodically check up on me, like the kids in the other dorms, like we'd see each other in crossing. They'd be like, yo, you still? I mean, hell yeah, because they thought I was gonna fold my flag or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then when I get out of confinement, I see everyone and they're like, yo, we heard about you. Da, 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 da,
That's
da.
some gangster
So
shit.
my name is already like starting to go up. And then they put me in D dorm, which is the dorm you go when you get out of confinement, and I beat up another Crip in there. And then fucking a GD, a gangster disciple, he had his finger shot off. It was like missing, and I guess we got into it with the GDs. So like I'm trying to see like what's up with him. So when I was in school, they wrote like fake gang knowledge and put it on my bunk, and then told the CO like, yo, he got some shit in his bunk. So the CO searched my bunk, they found that shit, and they took me to confinement under investigation for gang knowledge.
Out of the 36 months you did, right? How much did you spend in solitary?
At least a year, like more than a year.
Does that shit fuck you up to this day mentally at all?
I'm sure it does, yeah.
Do you like think about it?
I don't think about it, but I know it like scientifically. They say that shit fucks you up.
You ever have dreams about prison at all?
Oh yeah, more than I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever saw like a therapist or anything about it?
I never saw a therapist, but starting the YouTube channel, the more, because originally my channel was all about my experience in prison. So I'd have to sit down and really like relive this shit from day one. And the more I tried to think of and remember everything that happened, the more I would dream about it. And the more realistic the dreams became. Because it's like, I've talked to people about it. They'll ask me like whether it's a conversation with a friend or just someone I meet, and they're like, you know, how is it, you know? Like, how is it remembering all this shit? And I was like, it kind of fucks me up thinking about it when I dream about it, because before you ever have sex, you don't really dream about having sex. Like, if you do, like, you're kind of getting to it, and, you know, she's about to take it off, and then you wake up. You can't visualize what you haven't experienced in life. Once you've had sex, you can have sex in your dreams, and you can have these wet dreams. It's the same thing with violence. So I never visualized extreme violence in my dreams until I lived through it. And living through it, you feel the pain, you feel how it feels, and I would relive that in my dreams. I would get held down and stabbed and this and that, or I would be doing it to someone else, or I'd be watching it. Like, I'd watch it get done to someone and I can't look away.
Yeah.
And it's fucking extreme, bro, because it's like when I got cut, they put me in a cell after I got cut. They didn't change my uniform or nothing. So I had to smell that blood for a couple of days. It's just like that smell. It smells like metal. And that scent sticks with you. So when I have these dreams, it's not like it's just a visualization of seeing someone get stabbed. It's the hearing them gurgle on that shit because they got hit in their neck. It's the smell of the blood that's coming out of their fucking body. Like, it's all of these things. I'd wake up drenched in sweat, like, fucked up, bro.
Yeah.
But it's like, who am I going to talk to about this that's going to relate other than other people that have lived through it?
Yeah.
So it's just like when I talk to my homies that I did time with, they're the only ones that get it because they go through the same shit.
Do you think that like America creates this, like putting individuals in these situations where they're forced to fight or essentially survive in that case?
Nah, I mean, I can't blame it on a system or a government. I mean, I got to take self-accountability. Like, I put myself in there. Nobody made me do the shit that I did. But when it comes to the prison system, I mean, to be honest, bro, I used to try to blame the system. I used to try to say, oh, y'all want us to live like, But then I was like, if roles were reversed, if I was a CO, would I be a good CO? I'd most likely be the CO that when you try me, I'm beating the fuck out of you, gassing you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I wasn't a good inmate. Why would I be a good CO? And then how do you be a good CO? What could I do better for that situation? Like, people are people. You know what I mean? And people are going to be violent. And when people get put in a situation where it's like that, like, society and prison is two different places. People in this society can't understand how the functioning is in that society. Like, out here, you got all these groups that are ultra sensitive, and if you talk about them, you get canceled. That shit doesn't exist in there. That shit doesn't get respected in there. The only thing that really gets respected in prison is violence. So once you adjust to that and then you come back into this world, it's hard not to go back into the other, especially if you can thrive in the other. And it's like, I can't really say like I can blame like, oh, this or that, because I don't know what could be done better to get rid of that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, we were talking in the car that you didn't have much money growing up, especially in prison. How would you get money in prison and survive? Because no one was putting money on your books.
Yeah, so when I went to prison, the victim in my case, everybody thinks that it's my uncle. It's not my uncle. My aunt's girlfriend's brother was the victim in my case. This dude was trying to be like a cool male role model in my life when I was a teen. He took me to the gun range before. So I knew he had mad guns in the house. I ended up hitting his house. Some dirtbag shit. But it's like, when you don't give a fuck, you don't give a fuck. What was the question again?
About how you made money in prison.
Right. So we'll just edit that part out where I asked you what the question is. So because I robbed somebody close to my aunt, she didn't want to send money. And I couldn't blame her for that. And I wasn't in contact with any other family members. So I didn't have any money in prison. So when you're starving like that, because the food trays, you can only eat like 70% of what's on the fucking tray. Because you're going to have some shit that's on that tray that you don't even know what it is. It's unidentifiable. You don't even think it's real food. So extortion, robbing. If you're not willing to fight for your food, you're giving it up. If you're not willing to, you know what I'm saying? That's literally how it is. Like biscuit day.
Biscuit day.
Coffee cakes. Chicken for dinner. Yeah. Motherfuckers is getting flipped over that shit. Like dead ass. Like flip, bro. Like if you're not willing to fight for your food. So like, say it's me and you.
Yeah, say I'm sitting at the chow hall eating my chicken biscuits, coffee.
You're not even touching it, bro. We already established this in the dorm. You're not touching it. When me and you sit down together, that shit's going right on my tray. But in reception, they had that shit so tight rope because they know how bad extortion is. If you got caught swapping food with somebody else, like you would get the shit beat out of you for that because they know what time it is already. So you would have to like be smooth with it. Like you would stop picking at whatever you have. I'd smash my shit and then we'd quickly swap trays. But like people in your situation would do it sloppily, so we'd purposely get caught. Because then I'd get fucked up.
Yeah, but then I'm getting hurt after that, right?
You could, but I might get taken to confinement.
So when you approach someone to extort someone, how does that go down?
Violently, quickly.
You don't even give them an option?
Straight aggression. Nah, yeah, but you introduce the situation. It's like fucking, like Navy SEAL training, bro. Like they get up in your face and scream at. It's the same shit we do. Run off in your cell, slap the fuck out of somebody. You got their full undivided attention now. Like, they don't know what the fuck's going on. Or you fucking run in there with a razor. Bro, like, Not in reception, but at the actual jit camp, people used to get their pants pulled down and they would grab a broomstick like they're going to fuck them with a broomstick. Yeah. You got a broomstick tapping at your asshole, you might give up that food. You know what I'm saying? And some kids actually did get fucked with broomsticks. And their intestines would get blown out and everything. Extortion was crazy, bro. People would hold razors to your meat, razors to your neck. One of my homies, they put boiling water on his balls trying to extort him. One kid got a lighter lit right under his dick. They held him down, lit the lighter, and it burnt his hole shut, his dick hole.
But is it escalating to that right off the bat, or do I get a chance? If I walk in, are you coming to me and say, yo, you're giving me my tray?
If you're at, like, if this is reception, none of that's really happening. Like, you're just getting ran down on, you might get beat up or something, and it's more, like, simple. But if it's at the actual prison, it's immediate, bro.
Just to assert dominance.
It gets that serious, that fast. When I went to Lancaster, when I walked in the dorm, the kid that walked in front of me, they ran up on him. Well, one kid's talking to him face to face. The other one put him in a chokehold, started poking him up in his back.
Holy shit. So how many guys do you have you're collecting from weekly in prison?
It just depends on you. It depends on the gang. It depends on who you fuck with. Like, say me and you are bunkies, bro. You might just be paying me on the low.
And no one knows about it?
No.
Now, you were telling me a story about you guys would steal commissary. I've heard of that happening in the federal prisons. How would that work?
Well, I never stole because stealing wasn't respected, but we used to rob. So
isn't that the same thing? Okay.
Stealing is like you leave the cell and I sneak in your cell and grab your shit and sneak back out.
Gotcha.
And people would do that as a test. Like, we would steal from our own people. So say you were from Tampa, I'd send somebody in your cell, they grab all your shit. You're supposed to walk in there and see your shit's missing and come out, be like, bay check, where the fuck my shit at? Y'all gotta line it up. I don't give a fuck. Whatever. Like, you're supposed to, like, crank up. If you walk out of your cell with your head down quiet and you don't say nothing, we finna eat that. And we know you weak. You know what I mean? So people would do that as a test. But stealing isn't respected. And if someone's sneaking around stealing people's shit, they'll end up getting
And you guys are all breaking it off?
not they breaking it off. We breaking it down. But breaking it off is a term like getting extorted. Like, we getting they shit and
that's
then
what
we
I mean.
sharing it amongst us. Yeah.
Now, what about how sacred are like prison cells? Like, are there rules where another inmate can't go into your cell while you're not there? What are like the policies?
Well, in the JIT camps, like I was in the jungle dorms. So like Sumter is all open bay. There's no cells. So Lancaster, I went to B dorm, which is the jungle. It's like 60, 70 something people on each side. No cameras, no cells, bunk beds everywhere. You got to wrap your face up to sleep at night so you don't get cut.
What do you mean wrap your face?
You have to wrap a T-shirt around your face so you don't get cut in your sleep.
Really? Mm-hmm. This every night you wrap it, but then how do you pay attention to see what's happening?
You take the shirt and you rub it on the concrete so you can see through the fabric.
Holy shit. I've never heard of this.
Nah, that shit was fucking bad. There's no cameras, bro.
Does the T-shirt actually protect you from getting cut?
From the state razor, yeah, but if they hit you with a box cutter, it goes through all that shit.
And what about your body? Aren't you worried about that at all?
I mean, people used to, you got your jacket, you got a blanket. Some people would put books in the fucking jacket if they wanted to build like a bodysuit or whatever, but you really didn't see that shit happening like that. You take like your laundry bag and put it over your head so nobody smacks a brick off the top of your head, but like you have people getting, like, you ever seen Foot Lockers?
Yeah, of course.
They'd fill them up full of books and drop them off on somebody's head. They start having seizures and shit, shaking.
So what in these situations, is it safer to be on the top bunk?
Well, unless you're like in a corner, they're all one level bunks or like against the wall. So I was by the water fountain, like, or the first time I went into B dorm, I was in like one of the middle rows. So I just had a single bunk. But nah, you don't want to be on the top bunk either.
Now, what about showers? Are you guys like wearing boots to the shower, bringing a chair, having a shank? How does that work?
Nah, so you got your slides or your Crocs, and you got to go in there with your boxes on. And like the COs, like they don't let you go in there with your boots on. Like they'll trip out that. But like depending on where you're at, like we would rotate. Like Lancaster was real deal warfare. So like all the Bloods would be on one shower, the Zoes on one shower, the Kings on one shower, and we would rotate. So if I'm under the water, homie behind me got the knife, the other homie soaping up, the other homie got a poker, and then I get out the water, they pass me the strap. Now I'm holding it down while they doing, and then we just go in a circle until we're all clean and we'd all leave. Like you'd shit with one of your homies with you. Cause like you'll get ran down on in the toilet, bro. A motherfucker, yeah. Like, there's my motherfuckers, they'll fire you up on the toilet, hit you with a brick, hit you with a broomstick. There was a kid that was taking the shit on the toilet at something. He got up, knocked out 2 of their ass, like, dick swinging. Like, because we'll shit with one pants in a one leg in our pants and one leg out. So you can get up and fight with dick out and everything.
So you don't trip over it.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What about when you're in the cell? What are the rules that you guys have? Like courtesy flushing, everything. Do you guys have that in these joints?
At the JIT camp, it's anything goes, bro. It's like being in high school. Nobody really give a fuck.
So you leave the shit in the toilet, whatever?
Nah, I mean, you finna flush this shit. You know what I'm saying? But, like, when I went to adult prison, that's when it's more regulated. Like, don't bring random people in the cell, or, you know, make sure everything's, like, you put water on that shit. You take a shit. As soon as the shit hit the water, you flush it. You know what I'm saying? Or you flush while you piss so they don't have to listen to your piss. You know what I mean? Like, little shit. Like, if you got a fight in the cell, like, stick your ass. Oh, you're just getting hit up.
What was your nickname? Did they give you a nickname?
Nah, just call me by my last name. Because the COs, they call us all by our last names. So a lot of us went by last names, and then some of us had nicknames.
All right. So what year do you end up getting out?
2015.
2015. What's that like after you get out? Was it hard to readjust after like 3 years of just violence?
Hell yeah.
Are you getting back into shit like right when you got out?
Not right when I got out. So my mom, we reconnected before I got out. She was like, yo, you can come live with me. And then that fucking failed. So I went back to Boston, and I had to find a program that I could go into because I didn't have nowhere to live. So I couldn't get into a reentry program for inmates because I wasn't convicted in Mass. I found a drug program. So I called the drug program like, yo, I used to fuck with pills and shit. I just got out of prison. I don't want to get back into it. Like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 20. So this was right before my 21st birthday. So they're like, you just got out of prison? I'm like, yeah. Like, all right, yeah, we'll take you. So I had to go to like a little holding thing for 2 weeks, and then they put me into a program. All of these kids are like from the suburbs, like taking pills and shit, whatever. And then I come in there like haven't been to prison, scars, fucking this and that. And they're like, the other kids are like, what the fuck? But the older dudes that were in there were mad cool because these guys are like done time, fed time, whatever. All older Boston dudes from Southie, Charlestown, whatever. And yeah, so I go through the program. I start meeting these guys. One of the guys at the drug meetings, he had just did like 35 or 30-something years, 25 years. He killed his mom.
Oh, wow.
In a crazy situation. He was on drugs and shit, but he was the first person who approached me at like a meeting because we had to like do the AA meetings. I'm an Jake, I'm an addict. Like I had to do all that shit. And I would stand with my back against the wall. I'd find a corner and just stand there. I wouldn't let nobody like near me and shit. I'd just be watching everything. And he peeped the energy first quarter. He walked right up to me. He said, how much time you just did? I was like, I did 3. He's like, I just did 25. He's like, you know, I'm here. You need somebody to talk to. And we got cool. You know what I'm saying? Like he would give me advice, and his energy calmed me down. Cause it's like, you just did way more time than I just did. So obviously I'm not gonna. But then again, he was in Mass. So like, I was meeting a lot of guys that did time in Mass. I was like, I did time in Florida. This shit's different. So at one of the meetings, they had me go up and speak. And I started speaking. And I was like decent at speaking in front of people. And I started talking about my time in prison. I noticed there was like this group of guys that were kind of like they're trying to be like tough, like, oh, his story ain't official, whatever. So they tried to press me after the meeting. Like they came up. And this one dude's like, yo, you said you were in Florida. I was in Florida. Where'd you do your time at? And I just list off everywhere that I was at. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, shit. I'm like, yeah, like, you can Google me. Like, yeah. My DC number is C07652. Like, he's like, oh, all right, kid. Like, he thought I was fucking up there faking or some shit. Like, he was going to come up and fucking say something I'm not going to know the answer. Like, you know, like that stolen valor shit they do with the military? Like, he was trying to do some shit like that.
Yeah.
And no, I was really in there. And I get out of the program. I'm bouncing around in, like, fucking sober houses. And then I meet a girl, and I end up moving in with her in the middle of the hood. And then I started getting into some shit.
Just like back to the shit that you were in before?
I started like, I mean, put it this way, I caught a case. They said I was robbing people off of dating apps. Like, people are getting set up.
You see, this is why felons get banned on Tinder, Jake.
I got in the courtroom. I got banned from Tinder.
Jake, you're giving us a bad name. You know, it says in the bylaws on Tinder or whatever, like felons can't use this dating app.
Does it really?
Yeah, this is why girls don't trust the felons. They love the felons, but they don't trust us.
Yeah, so they accused me of having a fake page, and
Were you robbing men or women?
Nah, it was a guy that got robbed.
So you were pretending like you were a guy or a girl?
I wasn't doing none of the pretending, but I was just the motherfucker that was there when they showed up type shit. Yeah.
So I gotcha. But
so
you didn't go to jail for this, right?
Yeah.
All right, you didn't, right?
No, I got booked for this shit.
Oh, you did?
I got
so you could talk. You could
shit.
talk about it then.
Yeah.
All right. So you got to share this.
I got convicted. So basically, like, they were investigating a white guy in my area for multiple armed robberies, and I was the only white guy that lived in this fucking area. So I'm in Dorchester, right on the Roxbury line, and in this situation, this guy thought he was meeting with some girl or whatever, and the paperwork, like, I covered all the paperwork. It basically says somebody approached him and pulled a large chrome firearm, pointed in his face, and was like, "Give me all your shit." And he didn't want to give it up, and the person said, "I'm gonna blow a hole in you." Da 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 da. So basically, the situation was this kid had fucking pepper spray on him, and I'm, you know, whatever. But I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna, cause he got pepper spray. So I go back to the house and I change clothes, put shit up. I'm gonna just whoop his ass, cause I've been sprayed in prison. So when I come back outside, he already called the police. So when I see him, he starts running. I start going after him. The police pull up, and I get caught right there. So I got hit with armed assault with intent to rob and assault with a dangerous weapon by means of a firearm, which is like the equivalent to armed robbery in Massachusetts. So I get picked up for that shit. They take me to the police station in Roxbury, B2. They keep me there, I think it was overnight, and then I went to court the next day. When I go to court, like, I never had to go to jail, but I had to stay in the station or whatever. So when I go to court, they bring up the shit to the judge, and they're like, all right, here's the phone number. That's not my number. It's fucking texting app or some shit. That ain't my number. Here's the description of the robber. That's not what I'm wearing. They described no tattoos, but there was no gloves or a mask. I got face tattoos. I got a tattoo covering my hand. I'm right-handed. If I'm pointing a gun at you, you can see my hand tattoo. I'm not going to investigate you for anything else. You're going to plea out to the assault with a firearm. We're going to drop the intent to rob, and you're going to get 2.5 years probation, and we'll leave it at that.
So you got off pretty good.
Well, they presented to the judge, and the judge denied it.
Oh.
So the judge is like, it's July 2016. You just got out in July 2015 for another firearm offense. You need to go back to prison. I'm like, what? What the fuck? They came up with this deal, not me. I just said, yeah. You're talking about just sending me back to fucking prison. What the fuck? So we go in front of the judge again, and he accepts the plea, but he's like, I'm going to give you 2.5 years probation with a 2.5 year suspended sentence. One violation, you got to do the entire 2.5. I don't care if you're on your last day. If you fuck up on your last day, you got to do the entire 2.5. So I sign off. They put me in the choice program at Roxbury Court, where you basically got to show up. It's like a meeting. You eat breakfast with the judge and everything, and like all the other kids in the program. And you got to work or volunteer a certain amount of hours. So I got a job at a pizza place that was paying me under the table, but the manager was driving me to court. And we got into one argument, and I quit. And then I got a job at a smoke shop. I start working at the smoke shop. I break the sales records at the smoke shop. I become manager. I hired another kid from the program. I'm working 40 plus hours. I'm killing it. Whole time I'm selling cartridges out of the smoke shop and shit like that. Because we could legally gift, like, you buy a pen, we give you a cartridge. Mm-hmm. But I was bringing in my own shit. The owner of the business came to court on my behalf and vouched for me. And they terminated my probation early.
That's great.
So I got the probation ended, and then I got fired from the smoke shop.
And then you became a prison YouTuber.
Yeah, I got fired from the smoke shop because they found out I took all the fucking customers. And in the midst of not having a job, I just started watching YouTube. and I saw Lockdown 23-1.
Who's another big prison YouTuber.
Yeah, he was like the biggest one besides After Prison Show. So I go on his Facebook and he's like, yo, if you want to get an interview, you know, write a comment with a little bit of your story in it. So I just wrote this fucking paragraph. And it wasn't him that liked it, but mad people liked it. And that's what got his attention. And he brought me on for an interview.
And that just blew your shit up?
Yeah, that shit went crazy. Because it was like the first time no one really heard of a white blood. And nobody had heard any stories out of Florida State Prison. So mine was like from a young guy. Because Brian Bruton, Bounce Back B, I don't know if you know who that is. He was around in the beginning for the prison YouTubers. He did an interview with Big Herc. And he was like one of the only ones out of Florida that was sharing their story except for Christina Randall. But I was like the first like young guy that went through like the YOs. No one ever heard of the YOs. They thought I went to juvie. Like, nah, this ain't juvie. This is state prison. We go to the same reception as the adults. It's all state prison. It's just this is where they put the young motherfuckers at. So I did that interview. That shit went crazy.
You know, I think it's more than just being young and your story. It's a mix of that and your energy. Like, you're able to tell an interesting story. Yeah. Like, you just gave us some great prison stories, and I could see now why everyone loves you for that sense. Like, you're not just rambling on about shit. Like, you're able to tell an entertaining story. It's like watching a TV show.
No, that's what people have said, and they're like, you know, because at the smoke shop, I used to tell these stories, and you had people that probably didn't believe it, and then some that were really intrigued. They're like, yo, you should write a book. You should do this. You should do that. Whatever. They're just telling me I should do something. I didn't know what to do, though. And people would ask me, like, how'd you get good at, like, telling stories? It's like, it's from confinement. Every time you get a new bunkie in confinement, you get a new one like every 30 or 60 days because that's the average time of a DR, of a disciplinary report. So you get a new bunkie, the only thing we got to do is talk in this motherfucker. Like, where you from? What have you gone through? Why you in here? You just fucking relay your whole life story. And then, you know, when you've lived through some crazy shit, it's kind of easy to recite that. And it just turned into fucking me talking into a camera. And like that was weird, like, cause everyone watched that interview with him was like, "Yo, start a channel." I started a channel, and I'm just looking into my phone like, "Well, this is what happened when I went to prison," and that shit fucking blew up.
It prepared you for this. What year was this that you started on YouTube?
2019.
Now, you guys got in at a good time when it was like right before COVID, because COVID exploded these prison YouTube channels too.
COVID exploded everything because no one had nothing to do but just stay at home and watch YouTube.
And there's this huge market of adults and older, you know, men and women that love hearing these stories.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure a lot of your fan base is people in their 40s, 50s, or 60s that like watching your stuff.
I think because people used to hate and they were like, oh, only kids watch him, and you know he's talking about gangbang and it is bad for the kids.
Because people accuse us of doing that in some senses. Like, are you worried that a kid will get the wrong message when you talk about like the Grand Theft Auto stuff and the prison violence and whatnot?
I feel like that's the right message because they can actually relate to that. So the problem for me was, like, when I was in that program in Orlando, we had a guy come and he was a speaker and I just didn't take him serious. He was like, you know, when I was in prison, I would hear people getting raped and I would have to listen to that. Man, I don't give a fuck. Like, you sound scared. Like, I'm not going to listen to you. But if I had someone come in there and was like, yeah, I stabbed him, I shot him, he's going to have my undivided fucking attention. Like, oh, he's really doing it. I can actually, you're going to relate to somebody better that you feel like is in the sphere that you're in, doing what you're doing. So for me, I always just gave shit blood raw. Like, I had good times in prison. There was times where we did fucked up things to people and we laughed about it. We competed over who could extort. Yeah, they enjoyed it. That's why they fucking did it. You making money, you doing this, you doing that. Like, there's goods and bads to everything, bro. Like, I'm not going to act like I didn't have good times in prison. At times it was like fucking college. We in there hanging, we getting fucked up, high, drunk, beating each other up, dying, laughing, roasting people, doing pranks, fucking pouring water on people.
And now that shit's all live on social media because everyone's got cell phones.
Yeah.
Have you ever scrolled through like TikTok
Yeah,
and shit?
and people see like good times in there too. You know what I mean?
Guys are getting jumped in the bathroom on lives.
Yeah.
Our Jumpsuit Pablo shows a lot of those videos.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
Shit's crazy.
When you were in jail, that shit, I'm sure, wasn't getting out there like that.
Nah, it wasn't getting recorded like that. None of the places I went, we really had phones. Like in the JIT camps, cell phones didn't exist. The adult prison I was at, it was a fucked up adult prison. It was a psych camp. There was rumors people had phones. I never saw a cell phone in prison.
Yeah. Eventually, they're just going to give everyone phones. I mean, they're giving people tablets.
Yeah, they already got the tablets, and they're hacking the tablets so they can go on Facebook and Instagram on the tablet.
It's wild. Now, we were talking about it earlier, but your brand has grown beyond prison now. Like a part of your brand that people know you for is calling out high-profile individuals for their paperwork. What decided to give you that idea, and who are like some of the biggest people you've called out?
So initially I was covering my own case, and you know, I had people doubting what I got arrested for and the story, so I was getting the paperwork on myself. And then for me, like, the prison genre was starting to die out because everyone was doing it. So many more people were coming on, everyone was trying to do the same thing. So I was like, what's the next thing I could do? I started covering criminal cases. And it wasn't like rappers, it was just random crime that was happening, and I'd get the paperwork for it. Through that, I got the idea of, what if I look into rappers, start covering their criminal cases? And then it's like, boom, oh shit, this rapper snitched and nobody knows about it. You know what I'm saying? So then I started putting it out there like, yo, he told, here's the paperwork, like, let's see what it does. And it fucking went crazy. So, you know, I think one of the first ones I did was Spot 'em, Got 'em. That shit started to do numbers. And then I saw, like, okay, that I was doing, because nobody was posting my prison content on Instagram, but every time I covered a rapper, they'd post that. The blogs would cover that, and that's kind of what got me into the hip-hop realm of things.
Yeah. I mean, when someone goes on your Instagram, it looks like you have this image of being like this huge hip-hop like type star, just like your images and the brand. You've created an amazing brand.
That's just crazy. It was all like accidental.
When you were sitting in a jail cell, did you ever imagine like those times would give you what you have now?
Hell no.
Isn't that crazy?
I knew I wanted to do something. I just didn't know what. I wanted to be a rapper, but that shit wasn't hitting. And yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like fell into it. And then when I started doing it and making money, I'm on JPay emailing my homies in prison like, yo, bro, when y'all get out, I'm going to put y'all onto this YouTube shit. Like, I'm sure y'all don't know what the fuck it is. Like, I didn't know what the fuck it is, but this shit is making dumb money. And, you know, I had some people come home and start channels, and they ended up fucking it up. And
do you think it's tougher now, though, to get into the prison content world on YouTube if you're doing it, like, on your webcam? Like, I feel like there's a certain group of individuals like you, Lockdown, maybe After Prison Show, the original OG, that are able to go on there and do these videos and they do numbers. But do you think it's harder now for someone to start those channels?
I don't know. I mean, I felt like the prison genre died out a while ago, like a couple of years ago. But TikTok started a whole new wave.
Yeah.
So now there's like a whole new group that's rising up. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of cool to see that and to know that I was a part of like the original YouTube group. I don't know if it's harder. I mean, I feel like the content definitely changed up because we were doing long-ass videos. Like me, I was doing like 30, 40-minute stories versus now TikTok, 60 seconds, and these shits are doing millions of views.
Yeah.
So it's like the style changed, but I also just feel like it depends on the person. You got to have something about you that people just like and connect to.
Which is why I think I was able to stand out in the field because of the way I look.
Yeah.
And when I'm telling prison stories, it's like, you know, just like you were saying, people tagged me in your shit. Like, it came out of nowhere, but it's just different, you know?
Yeah, well, that's what I liked about when I was watching you is obviously we don't look alike, but your stories all came off as genuine.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of people in the prison community that be capped the fuck out. And a lot of people feel like, oh, if you're big and muscular, you must have been running in there. And it's like, I've seen people that are big and muscular get stabbed. So it's like, you know, people are under a facade of what prison is. They look at it for the movies, but I like genuine people that talk on genuine shit, you know, and that's kind of what got us in contact.
What do you want people to take away from your story, your message, and what you do and who you are as a person? What do you want them to gain from it?
Just the understanding of what it is, you know, like this is my life. This is what I went through. Understand that if you following in the same footsteps, this is likely what you're going to go through. And this is how it's going to affect you. 99% of the people that I know that were locked up with me are back locked up or dead. The rest of them, they're free, but they're broke and fucked up. Like, they're not living how I'm living. So I'm like the 1% of this shit. This shit doesn't really happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's everybody thinks that they're going to be that guy, that top guy. I never thought that for myself. I never thought that my channel out of everyone's channel was going to be the one that takes off. I never thought it was going to be me. And a lot of my homies that I thought would have been the one that would have became the celebrity or the rap star or whatever, they got killed. Or they're back in prison with a life sentence, or they're facing forever. So, I mean, if you're going to take anything out of what I say, just, I don't know, take it for what it is. Understand my life experiences. If you can relate to it, relate to it. If not, if it's entertainment for you, be entertained. But just understand that, you know, my actions had consequence. And just because I got a chain on doesn't mean I'm not dealing with a whole bunch of bullshit that I went through 10 years ago. All that shit still sticks with me. But if you can relate to what I went through and you went through something similar, I hope that where I'm at now can motivate you and show you that, you know, we can do something legally. Our past doesn't have to define us, and we can actually grow from what we've done in the past.
Well said. Last question for you. How do you get the name 1090 Jake? Like, what does that stand for?
1090, if you Google it, it's a blood code for set tripping.
Okay.
So for me, I actually went at it with a lot of bloods in Florida State Prison. So I just put 1090 on my name just because I was tripping off everybody, you know?
And now it's a brand.
Now it's a brand.
Do people just call you 1090?
Yeah.
Show and traveling out here. I know you don't do too many, in-person sit-down interviews, so I'm very grateful. And, I'm looking forward to, building a relationship with you and helping each other out, working together in the future. And, best of luck to you with everything you got going on.
Definitely. I appreciate you, bro.